Namaste. Hi everybody, happy Sunday. It's Mikaila here. And first I want to thank Soulivity magazine and Soulivity Latinx for giving me the opportunity to teach once again. I am here in Brooklyn, New York, and it's really nice and cloudy here. And loving that kind of weather, especially in the summertime when New York City can be so brutal with the heat and humid. So anyway, today's practice is going to involve slow movement. And what I mean by slow movement is not something that's going to be considered easy or difficult. Depending on how you are in your practice, what level you are, this is going to be a way to be mindful of your body, be mindful of your breath, and be mindful of every movement. So what I mean is by slow movement, really concentrating on the way that you see yourself in the pose, and not as an egotistical way, but just knowing that if you feel any pain or if you feel any tension, you're mindful of that. And so what I'll do is I'll show some modifications just so that you could see what I mean by that. So we're going to be starting in a minute. I just want to time this. Okay, great. Okay, so let's come to our mats. And I don't know if you could see this mat. And it might be backwards, but it spells Namaste. And it's a mat that I received from Shida Words earlier this year. And his name is Frankie, and he's a really good guy, and he makes the most beautiful mats. And so I'm using this as a mat, and especially with the additional cushioning, it's going to be great. So anyways, let's come into a comfortable seat. And whether that means coming into regular seated pose, Sukhasana, or you find yourself in lotus. Lotus is bringing both souls up in this fashion. So wherever you are in your practice, we're going to take our palms and place them on our knees. So depending on where you see yourself today, if you're looking to broaden your mind, you keep your hands up, palms up. If you want to be grounded and find yourself good in your practice, place them down. So today I'm thinking of being grounded today. So I'm going to be, let's just take a few nice regular breaths here. And then as we open our eyes, slowly open our eyes, take a moment, just sit for a second, and let's find our sankalpa, which is our intention for today. So whether your intention is for yourself in your practice, or your intention is maybe to be kinder to someone else, just your intention for today's practice. So let's take a moment, closing our eyes again, just making that intention. And let's start off with some stretching here. So placing our palms on our knees here. Let's take a moment. And we'll do some seated cat-cow poses. So as we inhale, we're going to lift our chest up, head up. And if you have any tension in your neck, keep it neutral. If you're okay, keep your head lifted. And then exhale, rounding the back. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, rounding. Inhale once again, lifting. And then exhale. So let's come on our hands and knees. So here we are on our hands and knees. And let's be mindful that our shoulders are aligned with our wrists and our hips are aligned with our knees. Stay here for a moment. Take a nice deep breath. As we inhale, lifting the chest up. Exhaling, rounding the back. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, rounding the back. Once again, inhale, lifting up. Exhale, rounding the back. Now, as I mentioned about slower movement today, what we'll do is keeping our hands where they are. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, begin to slowly move your bum to your ankles. So using your core here, slowly begin to bring your bum down. Keeping your thighs drawn in. And then when you come down, bringing your bum to your ankles, stay here for a moment. Inhale, come back up to hands and knees. And then once again, take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, slowly begin to bring your bum down. Okay, so come back up. And then let's move our palms to the tops of our mats. Tuck the toes and come into downward facing dog. So in downward facing dog, the shoulders are drawn in, all 10 fingers are spread apart. Your feet are hips width apart. And if you find any, if you're tense in the posture like I am right now, feel free to pedal your feet. Until you can find stillness. So when you find stillness here, feel free to bring your head down. Fellow Ashtangis, your gaze would be on your belly button, I believe. And let's inhale, lifting the right leg up. And then begin to bend that right knee over your left hip. And when you do that, be sure that your right foot is flexed. Two more breaths. And then begin to extend that leg one more time. And then exhale, come back down. Lifting the left leg up. Begin to bend that left knee over the right hip. Again, flexing that left foot. And then extending that left leg up again. And then exhaling, bringing that left foot down. Now bring your knees down into child's pose. So in child's pose, to add an additional hip opener to your practice, you would spread your knees out and then come down, or keeping the knees together and coming down. So I'm going to find that hip opener and then come down. And then when you're ready, come back to your hands and knees. So when you're back on your hands and knees, we're going to rotate our hips around. So coming back here and slowly rotating your hips around. And then slowly doing it the other way. So if you're rotating right, go left. If you're rotating left, go right. Until you come to find stillness. So now let's try some balancing poses. So staying on your hands and knees, let's extend our left arm out and extend our right leg out. So you're engaging your core here to find balance. Stay here for 3 more breaths. Take a nice inhale. Exhaling, bringing your left palm down and your right knee down. So let's do the other side. Inhale, extend the right arm out and extend the left leg out. Again, engaging the core. 3 more breaths here. And when you're ready, exhale, bringing the right palm down and the left knee down. So let's take a minute, because I know we were on our hands and knees, and some of you, some of my students mentioned that sometimes being in those postures can stress the wrists. So let's just do a little exercise here to loosen up the wrist. So let's take one palm first, whether it be the left or the right, taking your palm and placing the other palm on top of the fingers here, and then just stretching it out a little bit. So you're bringing the fingertips toward yourself, so toward you, and then taking the same palm and bringing your fingers towards you again on the other side. And then taking the palm out, twisting it to your right, and bringing that same palm, bringing the fingers closer to you. So you might feel it in this part of your forearm. And let's do the other side. So taking that right palm or left palm, whichever you started out with, bringing those fingertips toward you. And then once again, bringing that palm closer. And this time with your left, turning that dial down and bringing the fingers closer again. Okay, so now as we're seated, we did a little bit of hip openers, depending on if you were in child's pose with your knees spread out. But let's start off with some relaxation, restorative poses to open the hips. So let's begin in butterfly pose. So in butterfly pose, there are different variations of that. So in butterfly pose, which is also called Baddha Konasana, in Baddha Konasana, the people who have flexible hips might be able to bring their feet closer to their torso, like so. But we're going to be doing a restorative type of pose. So let's bring the soles of our feet together, but let's bring them more out, so it's almost like a diamond. And sitting up nice and tall. Let's take a moment to breathe here. So if you have any knee problems or any issues with your knees, if this is uncomfortable, you can bring your feet out even farther. But we're going to start out here. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, begin to fold forward for a moment. So let's check in to see where we are right now. We're here in this pose. You feel that your hips are need to be even more open. If you want more flexibility, we'll take another deep inhale. And then begin to exhale, coming down even farther. And then take a moment here, take another deep inhale, and as you exhale, begin to see if you can fold a little bit more. As we inhale, begin to slowly come back up. So let's extend our feet out for a moment. Let's shake our legs out. And then let's come on our stomachs for a little back bend practice. So let's come down on our bellies. And we'll do a locust pose, which is Chalabasana. So in Chalabasana, there are different variations. So in Chalabasana, you could, first of all, the neck should be neutral. It should not be lifted up. It should be neutral. And bring the feet together so the thighs are drawn in, everything is drawn in. And as you lift, you're lifting your chest and your legs, but you have the option to bring your hands in back of you. You can clasp your fingers together, or you can bring them outward in front of you. So I prefer clasping my hands together for an extra additional hip shoulder opener. So I'm going to start out here. And as you inhale, begin to lift the chest up, keeping the neck neutral, lifting the feet. And as you exhale, begin to slowly move down. And then when you're ready, we'll do this one more time. So wherever you are, if your hands are clasped, you want to choose that, or maybe keeping your hands on the sides. Inhale, lifting up again, bringing the feet together. Everything is drawn in, hands in back of you, if that's what you choose. And then as you exhale, begin to come down and rest. And then let's come back on our hands and knees. And let's take a few more cat-cow poses. So inhale, lifting up. Exhale, rounding the back. One more time, inhale. Exhale. Good. Let's come back down to a seated position. This time, because we did a back bend, let's continue on with a counter pose. So if you do a back bend, it would be good to do a counter pose, which would be a forward fold. So, but continuing in the hip opening pose. So we start out with butterfly, bringing the soles of our feet together. Let's straddle here. So when we straddle, depending on where you are in your practice, you could either, depending on if you have, if your hip flexibility is comfortable for you. So wherever you are in your practice. So if you're here, great. If you're here, great. It's all your experience and it's your mat. So wherever we are here, place the palms on the mat, floor. I'm going to take a deep inhale. And as we exhale, begin to fold just a few inches here. And again, let's check into where we are. And if you have any tightness in your groin area, please stay where you are. It's a very sensitive area, so you want to make sure that it's that nobody's injured in this class. So for those of you who want to get deeper into the expression of the posture, I'm going to take another deep inhale and then exhale, folding. I'm going to take another deep inhale. And as we exhale, see if you can fold a little bit more. Let's take a moment here. And then when you're ready, begin to very, very slowly walk your fingertips back to a seated, sitting up nice and tall here. And let's bring your feet together one more time. Shake them out. And then let's bring the however this class is shown. I believe it's opposite, but bringing the sole of your right foot into your left inner thigh, And let's take a deep inhale in the direction of the extended foot. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, begin to slowly move forward. So in this posture, if your hamstrings are tight, your calves are tight, what I suggest is still staying in this posture because you're using your outer hip rotation here. However, if you find yourself pulling or it's stressful, stay where you are. Take another deep inhale. And as you exhale, fold forward. Another inhale. Begin to walk your fingertips back to neutral. And let's do the other side. So bring the left sole of your foot into the right thigh. I'm going to take a deep inhale in the direction of the extended foot. Now, each side can be different. So with my right side, my right hip is tighter than my left. So at times I won't probably be able to do a complete fold, but that is the journey of yoga. It's a journey, so always practice it. So we'll take a deep inhale, and again, if you find that your hamstrings and calves are tight, just be mindful of that. So take a deep inhale, and as we exhale, begin to fold forward. Take another deep inhale. And as we exhale, come down. And then slowly begin to walk your fingertips back to neutral. And then once again, bring the feet together, extending them out. Take a moment here, shake those legs out. And let's come down on our backs. So on our backs, we have a choice here. We have a pose called Happy Baby. So in Happy Baby, you bring your knees up, place your fingertips on the sides of your feet, bring your knees down, and maybe rocking back and forth. And also keeping the feet flexed to protect the knee joint. So keeping the feet flexed here. And for those of you who want an extra hip opener, or extending out the hips a little bit, see if you can bring your knees closer to the floor. Rock back and forth. And then when you're ready, begin to bring your feet together, knees together, and give yourself a hug. And then once again, maybe rocking back and forth. Now let's bring our legs up. Feet are flexed here. Now let's do some core poses here. So what I want to do is let's slowly bring the left leg down, slowly, keeping that other leg lifted. And then when that foot is, the right foot is down, slowly begin to bring it back up. And then on the other side, that left leg coming down, slowly. And when your left foot is down, inhale, slowly bring it back up to meet your right. And when both feet are met, bring your knees to your chest. Once again, giving yourself a nice hug. Now let's come into Supta Baddha Konasana. And Supta Baddha Konasana means reclined bound angle pose. So again, bringing the soles of our feet together. Begin to bring your knees down into in a reclined butterfly. Let's take a moment here, remembering our sankalpa, our initial intention for this practice, whatever that may be. And let's take one hand on our heart space and one hand on our belly. Let's take a moment here. Nice deep inhales, nice deep exhales. And as we begin to close down this practice, let's find ways to be thankful for all. My gratitude for our breath, for our movement, for our strength. Now, if you'd like, you can stay with your hand on your heart and belly and stay in butterfly pose. But for those of you who are want to complete the practice in Savasana, let's flop our feet out. Palms are up. With every inhale and every exhale, you begin to feel that your shoulders are being heavier on the mat. And let's rest in Savasana. you're ready to return to the breath, just wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. And then let's turn to our right side for a moment. And then when you're ready, come back to a comfortable seat. So thank you all so much for attending this class today. I really enjoyed teaching, as always. And again, thank you to Soulivity Live, Soulivity Live and Soulivity Magazine and Soulivity Latinx for giving me the opportunity to teach today. So let's close off the practice with bringing palms together, placing the palms to our foreheads to remind us to have clear and loving communication. Our palms to our mouths to remind us to have, hands to our head, our foreheads to remind us to have clear and loving thoughts. Palms to our mouths to remind us to have clear and loving communication. And hands to our hearts to remind us to have clear and loving intentions. Thank you guys so much. Namaste.
Soulivity Magazine brings you the best in inspiration on Soulivity TV. Check out our new shows. Mark your calendars for Soulivity Magazine shows by going to soulivity.com now.